What's up guys, and I'm really enjoying making these videos for you guys. The amazing feedback I'm getting from these tutorials and the awesome feedback from my preset pack. I think you're really going to like this one. It's one of my favorites and we're going to get straight into it. So we are creating a really golden and teal look that's really commonly used by travelers such as Do Travel and Tessa MB. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop the contrast. I'm just going to keep the before and after. I'm going to keep the before up just so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to really bring down the highlights. And really bring up the shadows. So we're really brightening it up before we add in those gold tones. Going to bring up the whites and slightly drop the blacks to keep a bit of contrast. So saturation, I want to drop the saturation. And generally you want to add in warmth, but I'm going to maybe do that later depending on how we're looking. So onto tone curve. Alright, so you can see we really brought up the blacks and shadows to create that fade. And moving on, and before we do the colors, I'm going to come down, enable profile corrections, as we're dealing with architecture, so we want those real nice straight lines. And moving down, and I'm going to put quite a bit of dehaze in. And that adds a little bit more contrast in. So now onto our colors, and I'm going to move these oranges towards the reds. Yellows way further to the oranges. And I'm going to push the greens in this direction. You want warm greens, but I'm going to warm them up in a different way. Aquas. And moving on to saturation, gonna bring most things down. Oranges I'm gonna bring right down. Yellows down a little. And we've got to bring most things down, mostly because we're gonna deepen a lot of these colors with the luminance, and that makes colors a bit darker. So they need to be desaturated. And on to luminance. So bringing most things down. And it's still quite hard to see the color shift, but when we do the split toning you'll really see a difference. Greens, gonna bring them down. And the blues. Yeah, bring magenta up a tad. So, split toning, this is maybe the most important part. So I'm going to add a lot into the highlights. A lot of orangey gold. And as you can see, that really gets our gold and orange look. And it looks just the right orange for me. I really like that color because we have shifted a few of these. gets a really nice gold. And then you want to put generally the opposite color in the shadows. Otherwise, sometimes your shadows have as much gold in them as your highlights, and then it just looks like a cheap filter that has just been placed on top. So just a little bit. Sharpening, depends if you like sharpening. Always bring the masking up. We've done profile corrections. No vignetting. I'm going to put a lot of grain in there, as that's very popular as well with the tropical golden travel feeling. And really bring up the roughness. And it depends what you have in the shot. If I had someone standing very close, I probably wouldn't put this much grain in, as it would just be very obvious on a face that is close to the camera. So I'm going to put a bit of green into the shadows and slightly shift the blue primary. And I think we're looking pretty good. Some things are annoying me that we will change now. So I'm going to grab a filter and I'm going to try and make this side match this side, so it's nice and symmetrical. Nice and feathered. What I'm going to do is slightly bring up the warmth. Bit of exposure. And then just drop those blacks a little, because we brought them up a bit too much. And as you guys can see, there's one issue that has affected our sky, and it looks terrible. So what you do, you come up here, not to the brush, but the word brush. Click on this, come down, click erase, and now you have a brush with a little minus sign in the middle, and then just brush where you don't want that filter to affect. And if you want to see where you're painting, click this little box down here. It's going to show us exactly where the filter is affecting. And I'm pretty happy with that. So done. And moving on, I want to do one for the sky. So just a thin one at the base of the roof here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cool the sky down, and that's going to put more blues in there. I like to have the complementary colors, the orange and blues, to really complement each other. So a lot of blues and a lot of oranges. Bit of exposure. And we have the same problem as before, as it's affecting our walls. So again, word brush up here, erase, and brush away. Super handy. I used to not know how to do this, and I'd be doing a whole lot of circular radial filters all up in the sky, trying to cover every corner. And click off our box to see what we've done, and then up to how blue you want your sky, you could add in more blues by dropping the temperature. I liked it at about 20. I like quite a desaturated look. Some people might want some more, so you could drop the exposure and you get something like that. Some people might like that. I like it quite subtle at about there. Looks a bit more natural in my opinion. Still quite bright, but I want to keep it quite saturated so you guys can really see the colors we're making. So I think we're about done. Before and after. And some people might want the blacks a little darker. So that's what it looks like if you drop the blacks a bit more. A lot more. I might leave them here, as I quite like the real faded look that Do You Travel goes for. So yeah, some people might want to bring these whites up a bit more to make it look even brighter, or the highlights. And yeah, so make it your own. You can go for or you could go for the real flat look where you bring the whites right down. And I'm not going to say this as a LUT because this is very similar to some that I've already got in there. And yeah, make sure you go check out my LUT pack if you guys are liking these tutorials. Leave a comment on what you guys like to see. I'm planning on editing some of your guys' photos that you send in. Some people, there's some Instagram accounts that look really good and they have barely no followers. So I'm thinking of getting these talented Instagrammers to send in their photos, and then I'm going to show you guys how to edit like them, and then they get lots of exposure and followers from you guys watching the tutorial. So hopefully I'm going to be doing a bit of that. And yeah, maybe send me some comment down below some Instagrammers that you think are really underrated. I'll reach out to them, try to get some photos, see if they want some exposure, and yeah. So leave a like, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.